Hey everyone, and a welcome to the 96th episode of the Let's Be Real podcast. Slowly but surely, but more on slowly, we are getting there to number 100. I am Nayan, your host for this episode, and today it's going to be a joint effort. We're all going to share some topics in these last five sort of podcast episodes, so you get to all hear all of our voices in a hosting sort of capacity. But in this episode, we'll be covering the Mission Impossible trailer that released like 20 weeks ago. Video Game Versus, Fantastic Four trailer, the second episode of The Last of Us. There will be spoilers, obviously. $1 billion predictions of 2026, the latest criteria on Oscar voting, and Buy Rent Sell 2024 edition. I'm joined here by both James and Kyan. Boys, how you doing, and have you watched anything interesting recently?
I am doing fantastic, man. Thank you. What have I been watching? A lot of TV shows. I was thinking to myself, I'm on a generational run when it comes to watching TV recently. Like, in terms of times when I've been watching like multiple shows at once, this is the time where they've been at the most highest quality. You know, I've been rewatching Loki with my girlfriend. Which
So
is,
good.
Yeah, great show. The Studio, which is awesome. The White Lotus, I just finished that one too. Started Andor, in the middle of The Last of Us now. Have I missed anything?
Daredevil?
I haven't been watching Daredevil. I need to catch up on that. But yeah, I think there's another one as well. But just such great stuff, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just they all offer something different as well. It's not kind of just repetitive. They're all different, and it's just been really nice to just watch Black Mirror. And Black Mirror is actually good this season.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've picked like the right episodes to watch.
True. I think that USS Callister one is still pretty good. But we've got to watch that one sometime. But yeah, so lots of good TV stuff. Not too much on the movie side of things. I'll pick up with this summer movie season.
Yeah, I've been keeping up to date with The Last of Us, and I watched Warfare last night, actually, which was super intense. And yeah, I mean, outside of that, it's just, I completely agree. We're going through like very much a golden age of television, I feel like, with all this high quality stuff releasing. You mean, we've got Severance that's currently airing, which
True, we had Severance.
Yeah, we just finished Severance, and that's one of those shows where I could probably speak for all of us here, where it's one of these shows that is quite special, where you could say this is one of those generational, once in a decade shows, like what you get with Breaking Bad, potentially. Again, I don't want to jinx
It's all about the landing.
It's all about the landing, or with, God forbid, Game of Thrones. Unfortunately, that did not stick the landing, but, we have an opportunity here for something great, and it's just intermixed in all this really great television.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the end of the year in terms of TV is not looking too good.
Yeah, I think it's like the first half.
Like TV really blew its load in the first half of the year. Like I think once the end of May comes around, I don't really know what else.
But you can get these random shadow drops like Adolescence and stuff where things just come out and then you just didn't really expect it. And you're like, well, that was fantastic. And I didn't have the show on my radar at all. And it's an absolutely fantastic sort of television show. So.
I think it'll just be Stranger Things, which remains my most anticipated. Gen V, Peacemaker.
There's Rick and Morty, but that's been
That comes out next month.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, what about you, Nan? Anything?
Just the usual half the stuff that you said, except I finished Daredevil. That was pretty good.
I've heard it's incredibly violent.
It is.
Yeah.
The last episode, or just
the last episode.
It is.
Some of the most violent stuff.
It is. It's almost on par with what they did on Netflix, if not a little bit more. But it's super brutal.
Yeah, even the first episode, which I did watch, it's the only thing I've watched. It's pretty, very violent. Doesn't feel like MCU.
No, it doesn't. It feels good. It feels like separated. It feels like the sort of Netflix universe, which is great. Also watched Novocaine as well. And I watched Black Bag.
Black Bag?
Yeah, that Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender movie.
Oh, yes. The spy one.
Oh, yeah. Any good?
Yeah, it's good. I found it a bit boring, but it was a good film. The way it was put together in the story.
Interesting.
But yeah.
There's a lot of these sort of spy espionage shows and movies out, particularly shows. There's one with like Eddie Redmayne, like The Jackal or something.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like an espionage one. It's like
Is it on BBC?
it's on. I think it's on Peacock or something. Oh, okay. And then there's like there are others. There's so many releasing. It's just an interesting genre to suddenly start blowing up. Yeah.
Speaking of things blowing up, we got Mission Impossible. So that comes out next month. So it's creeping up pretty fast.
Very fast. We already got the invite
Oh, have we?
for Brisbane. So if we want to fly over to Aussie and catch it early, then we got that.
Cool. So that trailer dropped along with some news that it's 2 hours and 49 minutes long, which is the longest in the franchise. So what are your guys' thoughts on Mission Impossible trailer? How's your anticipation levels going?
They are creeping up, but it's like kind of like what you said. It is sneaking up on us. When I got that invite, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Like this movie feels like so far away, but it's actually like next month, like in about a month's time. I think a little bit less, which is crazy. I don't know if that's the marketing's fault and it just hasn't targeted me very well. But as for the trailer itself, dude, I mean, I want to be a lot more excited because the trailers and everything I'm seeing is really good. It's exactly what I've wanted and I think this that runtime kind of adds to that as well. Just because that trailer, it did show like his previous, I guess, missions, and it really does seem to be building up as kind of Ethan's final moment. I really hope they stick to that so we can get some kind of, I guess, emotional connection to some of the best action that we get in cinemas at any point in time. And yeah, what we're seeing from these action set pieces, just based on the trailer, they look by far and away way better than whatever Dead Reckoning did.
Yeah.
And it's clear that the biplane, hanging onto the biplane, is going to be, it's kind of like the stunt.
Yeah.
But it does look like a situation where it's like Fallout, where there's just so many like massive set pieces. So which one's the highlight for Fallout? Is it where he does the skydive? I don't know what's that called?
Halo jump.
Halo jump, that's the one. Or is it when he's running along the rooftops, breaks his ankle doing that? Is it the helicopter fight? There's so many different moments in that
bathroom,
movie.
bro.
The bathroom fight as well.
Go to-
There's so much great stuff, and it looks like Dead Reckoning will deliver on that. I just hope they can actually capitalize at least the start of a promising story in Dead Reckoning.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. The trailer definitely felt like it had that sort of finality sort of vibes. You remember how in Endgame, I think it was the second trailer came out, it had like those black and white snippets of the OG Avengers.
Yeah.
And then went into the new stuff. That's the sort of vibes I'm getting here. So it does feel like as if it's the final, but whether they do, commit or not is a completely different situation.
Yeah.
Would you rather have him have like a James Bond, No Time to Die sort of ending, or like he survives and
Oh, 100%. I would love that.
he dies?
Yeah, he makes the ultimate sacrifice, and it's like his life has been building towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can bring back, what is it, Michelle Monaghan?
Monaghan. Yeah,
Yeah,
Monaghan,
bring back her character. I think that was like the central love interest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even though it's kind of shifted towards Hayley Atwell's character, which a bit late in the series to
Way
introduce
later,
that.
Silly, yeah.
Particularly with Rebecca Ferguson's character dying, and mixed bag Dead Reckoning was, but ultimate sacrifice. It feels like a character that's always put the mission first. I want to see that delivered, but if he put himself first for his personal life, I wouldn't be too angry. It's about how they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait and see in a month's time.
Well, what about Kyan? What's your thoughts? You're like the most downer on Mission Impossible because of the Ethan Hunt character. So
I don't really understand his motivations as a character other than he's the guy who always completes the missions.
Yeah.
Like that's really the central.
do you think that as the series has gone on, it's drifted more away from like his character beyond the mission, and just been more about the action set pieces and
Yes, it
stunts?
has. I think it has.
Similar to Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
I think that like he was almost in like it was his job to be in the role he was, but a lot of the things were just kind of happening to him in the older movies. Like he was in these situations that were out of his control, whereas it feels like in the newer films he's constantly chasing new missions and
Right.
chasing new adversaries. It just feels like he's jumping, like literally chasing sequel to sequel to sequel to sequel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really connected with that Ethan Hunt character, and I just don't really. When I don't connect with the lead, I just don't really feel much. But I don't know. I mean, I always find them entertaining. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than that. It's not.
Yeah.
There's not really much to say about it because I don't feel it's the kind of franchise that is saying much or doing much other than being action set pieces.
How would you compare it to John Wick, which is very similar in its approach? It's just it's action first, story second. Sequels are starting to feel a little forced.
I don't know because Mission Impossible, it has a style to it, but it doesn't have a style to it like John Wick does. You know, it's a very broad, generic action, and then there is some stuff that like differentiates it from other action movies, like the realistic sort of like no stunt double sort of situations.
Yeah,
but you know, John Wick is highly stylized, more kind of like intimate, personal journey, and Mission Impossible was like save the world, broad goal sort of thing.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel pretty similarly about both of them, to be honest with you. Like, I'm as excited about watching a Mission Impossible movie as I am about a John Wick.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. That's, still one we're gonna go see in IMAX. You gotta go see it in IMAX. Yeah,
for sure.
I think you have to.
yeah. We're locking those plans live on the podcast.
It's almost like F1 and Top Gun, like they're made for the big, a big screen.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
All right, so a new segment, Video Game Versus. So Kai will be taking over on this one. So Kai, tell us what the segment is and what we have to do.
Well, before that, I thought we'd talk a little bit about kind of the state of video games right now and the state of the cinema industry or the television industry. And, you know, there has been a noticeable uptick in adaptations and IP being converted. I mean, we had a laugh, James and I, about this one article that said that, you know, it's the new MCU, like video games are the new MCU, like in terms of like getting adapted to screen. It's like, well, no. And James' argument was basically not unless you're pulling MCU dollars, you're not anywhere close, which is true.
Yep.
You might get the odd Super Mario or Minecraft movie which does pretty decently, but you know, video game movies are still not making that kind of cash flow.
Yeah.
I just thought it's an interesting segment, and I think that we probably are going to see more of it. I don't think it's going to be the new MCU, but I think we are going to see a lot more of it. What is your opinion on it?
My opinion, it's kind of what you just said before. I thought it was a stupid article. It's way too early to say that because saying it's the new MCU and the MCU in its heyday, it was constant like 800 million plus every single movie. Doesn't matter how bad it is, albeit some movies didn't reach that figure, but they would always make loads of money despite the quality, and that's a kind of I don't want to say trend, but a trend or whatever. Yeah, that's just such a level that it's so hard to get to, and it needs to be consistent. And I don't think video games are going to get anywhere close to what I guess all superheroes is like, but what they've done now, you know, Minecraft being a success, Mario was obviously huge. Like, you chose the most popular game of all time and the most popular gaming franchise of all time. They've essentially blown their load already, and we're going to jump on the trend bandwagon. The real challenge is getting those kind of B tier, C tier, even D tier games into major movie franchises. They got Iron Man at the time, C tier superhero. Now he's an A tier, one of the most popular of all time now. And look what they've done, Guardians of the Galaxy. No one even heard of them before the movie came out. So
now they're one of the most beloved.
Yeah, that's what, if that's going to be a truth, then that's what it needs to do. Yeah. Getting Minecraft successful is not hard. We just saw the movie. It's not hard. No. You just got to like put in some stupid stuff and just label it Minecraft and it works. So, yeah.
I think the thing with MCU is that it was also building towards a story and pretty much a, you know, end goal, end game, if you wish. But with video games, it's all these different video games don't really interconnect unless you could somehow do it with like Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And their characters and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
everything else is separate. Like, you're not going to see Super Mario Bros. And Crash Bandicoot on the screen together
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
like two completely different things. So each video game is essentially its own property, or each video game studio is its own property, and they have to do something within that. But they are definitely getting immensely popular and heading towards TV a lot more. We've recently had Last of Us and Fallout, and we'll also be getting God of War, and I think Horizon is a TV series as well.
I've heard of that, yeah. Those two have been around, at least announced for ages, though.
Yeah, they have. So it looks like as if they're still sticking with like the movie sort of genre, at least format, but going more into movies with those longer sort of games, you know, the ones that needs to be fleshed out more, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, because there's no way that you could do like Last of Us Part 1 and 2 in two separate movies
No.
for like 2.5 hours.
No.
Be,
10 movies. To make it like an MCU.
they could.
Mind you, watching The Last of Us on the big screen when we got invited to that event, awesome.
That was so
D-
good.
It's better on the big screen than watching it at home.
I wish we would watch the second one on the big screen. That would have been so good.
I shouldn't even watch the second one at all.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was that it?
No. So, I mean, well, this leads in, right? Because there's actually a whole bunch of video games that have not yet been adapted into a television series or a movie. And I thought today we'd play a bit of a game called Video Game Versus, where I've got 10 games here, 10 video games, or at least 10 franchises that potentially could be adapted into a movie or TV series. And I've selected three directors who could potentially direct them. And it's up to you to decide which one you think is the best.
Okay, I like that.
And I want to hear your justifications on it as well.
Justifications, all right.
Now, this is in no particular order. These are franchises. There might be a couple in here that you're not super familiar with, James, that you may have heard of them, but you haven't actively played them.
Yeah, as long as they're popular, I should be.
Yeah, they're relatively popular. I would say there's probably only one in here that you'd go, well, I don't know if I've heard of that. But here is number one, Call of Duty. Now, kind of on the surface, this could be seen as a very generic war movie, right?
Yeah.
But in a way, Call of Duty is when you dial it down and when you really look into it to the video game, it's actually an interconnected non-linear narrative. That's what it is. You're playing different characters from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And you that's how you play the game, and then it all interconnects towards the end, usually. That's how it works. So you're dealing with kind of complex editing structures
Yeah.
in it, if that's the route the director went. The three directors I've selected for this are Catherine Bigelow. So she did The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. Sam Mendes, who did 1917. And Guy Ritchie, who did The Covenant. That's the one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
I don't think I've seen that
I
one.
haven't seen that one.
Yeah. So these two directors, all have experience within the war genre, but they all kind of approach it slightly a little bit differently. Based on this video game, who do you think would be the best pick and why?
Oh, you're gonna hate me for this one. I have to do Sam Mendes because I haven't seen The Covenant, Hurt Locker, or Zero Dark 30.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know it is bad.
Oh man!
Yeah. So, but I have seen 1917, and I just don't understand enough about the director's strengths of Guy Ritchie and Catherine Bigelow. I mean, maybe Guy Ritchie to a certain degree, and I haven't really gelled well with his directing style and kind of the way he loves to shoot action and stuff like that. I guess Sam Mendes would be my choice beyond just the fact that I haven't seen those other examples you raised, just because I think he really grounds things in emotion really well, and he can clearly direct the action side of it and just mold them together. And he puts a stylistic touch onto it as well, which I think with a movie like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it needs to go beyond kind of the generic warpath and have some more style to it and to fit in the games. And I think he could be the one to put that together quite well. But from what I've heard from Catherine Bigelow stuff, she sounds like an excellent pick as well. So those two I'd have quite strong faith in to adapt that story.
Okay, here's another question: do you think that would work better as a movie or a television series?
Movie, 100%.
A movie?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
wow.
I've played a few of the campaigns and kind of the scope of the action.
It's very cinematic.
Yeah, it needs to be on the big screen and it needs a very large budget.
The only reason I come back at you with that is because it is multiple perspectives, right? And you can imagine episode by episode you're seeing different perspectives.
That's true, but we've seen that stuff done in movies before, and I think it can be done. I don't think the campaigns are long enough to justify a series. Like you can fit it within the time frame of a movie.
Okay, fair. Nan.
I'd pick Catherine Bigelow just because I have seen those two films, and what she's done in war films is pretty much near perfect for a war film that you could get. You know, just the way that she does capture the action, certain scenes, such as that house raid scene in Zero Dark 30 when they're trying to find Bin Laden. That's super tense, minimal action, but it's like very like army accurate. Like, you know, it's not just
I love the army accurate
Yeah.
stuff, eh? Like
It's
where,
just
where
like
it's like real tactics and
super tactical, and
Yeah.
most of Call of Duty's not campaigns,
or at least the
missions.
modern ones are fairly like a lot more accurate than they used to be.
Yeah, so I think she'll be the best to like bring out that sort of accuracy and like still have like enough tension and action within the scenes, and she can just get out performances as well, like we saw it with Chris Pratt's character and was it Jessica Chastain?
Yeah.
Really, really great performances. So I think just in terms of a whole, should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Cool. So on to the next one. I mean, this is a big heavy hitter right here. The three directors are as follows. Well, actually, the title of it is Grand Theft Auto.
okay, yeah, I was
That's
like,
the game, Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, of
Now
course.
we've not had this one adapted yet, but you know, this would be a big one. This would be one of the movies that you could expect if it's done right. It could earn $1 billion at the box office
quite easily,
just
I think.
because of its IP presence.
Yeah.
However, you know, it's the kind of thing that I think if you're going to produce a Grand Theft Auto movie, you're not going to produce one. You're going to create a trilogy. That's what I think you're going to do because you don't waste it on one movie.
Right,
You
yeah.
get someone who has vision and who's going to be able to create 3 movies. At least that's the way I see it.
Would this be like GTA 5 where it kind of follows those 3 leads and
Maybe it will be entirely new characters. We don't know.
so yeah, how would that work in terms of the story?
Well,
would
the
they follow what the game does, or would they be creating their kind of own thing in that world?
I think that they'd be creating their own thing within that world. It might be set in Los Santos. It might be set in Vice City. Might be set in Liberty City. We don't know. But, you know, it would be their own standalone characters and it would be a trilogy.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
The directors for this are as follows. James Gunn. The second is Peer.
Pardon?
The second director
Yeah.
is 2 people.
Okay.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone. And the third is Adam McKay.
Ooh, that's 3 very different ones in a way.
Very different.
Yeah.
And all have experience working with comedy. And, you may go, James Gunn, that seems weird, but when you're thinking about Grand Theft Auto, you're thinking maybe about ensemble. You know, you're thinking about who has a lot of experience in trilogies.
Yeah.
You're thinking about, and then you got Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It's like, well, they may not be seasoned live action directors, but, you know, they had, well, technically they're a live action, which is Team America World Police, but, you know, they have worked within that. They've worked within doing the Book of Mormon, which is a stage show, and South Park, of course.
Yeah, and they got that Kendrick Lamar movie
Coming up.
Yeah.
So, you know, who knows? And then you got Adam McKay, who's the master of satire.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Grand Theft Auto is. It's not entirely that, it's partly that, but
Yeah, I think you kind of narrowed it down for me in that way. I would immediately get rid of James Gunn, I think, from that contention, just because he would add his style to it, and I just don't think that style would mold well with the Grand Theft Auto franchise. It needs to be a little bit more grungy, a little bit more realistic to it. And Matt Stone and Trey Parker, it's kind of like a swing in the dark that you don't know. You could hit gold, or you could get a total dud where it's the wrong pick, wrong style. I think Adam McKay can really bring the satirical edge to it, and I think GTA does need to be that. I would really love to see how he would do it. Would it be through a heist, or kind of this that broad thing that you talked about with the trilogy? I just don't know how he's in the kind of the trilogy stuff, but in terms of a heist,
I could see, you could see, you could see him doing one movie, but you'd struggle to see him doing a trilogy.
it would be interesting to see how he would do it. But I would love the kind of comedical side that he would bring to it. I don't think GTA needs to be like this grand in terms of like action or anything. I think you can just have it be limited scale. So yeah, that would be my pick. Yeah,
Okay. Nan.
I picked who was the third guy? I forgot his name.
Adam McKay.
Adam McKay.
Adam McKay. Yeah, I
Oh,
think he
yes.
does satire really well, and he'll be able to like capture that Grand Theft Auto sort of humor and stuff like that. And also, he wouldn't be afraid to like push the boundaries, similar to what he did in Don't Look Up. You know, where there was some like really bad. And when I say bad, like oh my god, how did that get past?
Yeah.
Sort of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Grand Theft Auto is about. You know, is pushing those boundaries, and I think he would just be able to capture that really well. I think in terms of doing a trilogy, James Gunn will probably be the best because he's obviously the best. Like he's the best one. He's the one that's made 3 things and made it all work. But like you said, like I think he would just bring his style to it, which wouldn't quite work unless like Adam McKay writes a script and he directs, and that could possibly work as like a little duo. But yeah,
You know, I'm actually a little more convinced on Gunn because when I play Grand Theft Auto a lot, it's so clear to me how almost every single scene is comedy. Like everything is the build up to a punchline. Almost like every conversation has some humor to it on some level. You know, like there was moments of like conflict and tension and
I mean, I can remember
action, but
the GTA 5 story quite well. It's not too much of that. There are very quite emotional stakes at play. Yeah, which obviously James Gunn can do. But
the characters, they're also like
yeah, they're very exaggerated versions of the stereotypes
Correct.
they use in the character.
yeah, they're like these like almost
Yeah.
like you said it best. They're exaggerated stereotypes.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, you know, it's laughable how stereotypical a lot of them are, and like
yeah,
you know, it's like it's so in your face.
Yeah.
But that's why to me, like James Gunn would be like if they let go of all the sort of restrictions he has, maybe he could do something with it. But you know, I'm mostly with you. Maybe Trey Parker, Matt Stone could do something interesting. But
Yeah.
you know, we got to see their work in live action.
Yeah,
before.
that one I need more time to really think about.
Yeah.
But if they were to do GTA 5, I was watching the White Lotus season 3 and Walter Goggins as Trevor.
Oh
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect casting right there.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, you could even have the guy on White Lotus, the dad, as Michael.
Oh,
He would actually be great.
It would be good, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we should
yeah.
direct it.
All right. Number 3, another Rockstar game, Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
Now, this is a full-on Western. This is going to be a tricky one. 3 directors. Number 1, Quentin Tarantino. It's his final film.
Ooh.
Number 2, the Coen brothers. You know, they did.
yeah.
You know, they did No Country for Old Men. If you're talking about intensity. Number 3, Taylor Sheridan.
Oh, yeah. Hell or High Water.
Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
Wind River.
Pardon? Yeah, Wind River. It might... I'll lock in Quentin Tarantino, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, just because I think Red Dead, both games, whatever story they want to do, it has to be a long movie. There's a lot in it. And I think Quentin Tarantino can, you know, have the most punch in a movie's runtime. He can pack the most into it, more so than the other guys. I think Taylor Sheridan in particular, he loves very slow burn type of movies that allow the characters to be kind of fleshed out in a real, not diluted way, but just in those quiet moments. Quentin Tarantino, I think he can put it in a lot and add some kind of I don't know, other very interesting narrative dynamics and kind of pull out some themes from it more so than the other guys. The Coen brothers, don't know, they've been kind of hit and miss. At least of recent times, they haven't quite struck it with me. Particularly the latest outing with that Drive Away Dolls. So they've had bangers, of course, but yeah, I'm not riding with them on this one.
I mean, it's same boat as James in the first one, where I haven't seen the other two directors' work. apart from
Really?
Tarantino.
Wait,
Yeah.
so you've seen Sicario. I mean, he wrote Sicario, he didn't direct it, but
Sheridan.
Sheridan.
Yeah.
You've not seen Hello, High Water or Wind River. No. Have you seen Yellowstone?
Only episodes of it, not all of it.
He made that. Okay.
So we'll have to
Wow.
default to Tarantino, but he's already made two fantastic westerns. One we discussed before the podcast was The Hateful Eight, and also Django Unchained. So he's clearly used to that sort of genre, and I think just fitting the action of Red Dead in there as well, I think he'll be able to capture that real nice. And whatever James said before in regards to themes, he'll be able to do that. And you're completely right about how he can pack so much in a runtime. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had like 3-4 stories going all at once, and it's a short little 2-hour thing, and he made it work. So I think he'll be easily be able to do Red Dead into a movie, probably like a 2-hour, 45, 46.
Yeah, it would need to be
runtime.
that sort of runtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would pick the Coen Brothers because the way I see Red Dead is that it's not super actiony, but like it's more so kind of a tragedy. The story, and like I think that Quentin Tarantino is good at those things, but the Coen Brothers are better at tragedy. Showing a character who's like basically going towards their doom. They're chasing their doom, which is kind of what Red Dead is in a lot of ways. I think that that No Country for Old Men is a great example of that kind of feeling that you'd want from something like Red Dead, where it ends and you feel this pit in your stomach. Whereas I don't know, I don't know if I'd want Quentin Tarantino's last movie to be a video game adaptation. Not that it's very video gamey, but
Yeah.
very
You
cinematic.
could pull it away from the kind of video game feel.
Yeah.
Without it being straying too far away from the source material.
Yeah. Cool. All right. The next one is Pokemon.
Detective Pikachu.
I mean, like a full-on Pokemon, like movie.
Live action.
Yes, live action, full-on live action. So the three directors for Pokemon, all these potentials here, are Paul King, Paddington, Travis Knight, Bumblebee and Kubo and the Two Strings, Sean Levy, Free Guy and Deadpool.
Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah.
I would probably go with the second one.
Travis Knight,
Yeah. What was the ones he did? Cuba. And what was that first one you said?
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. I think he can obviously capture live action animation really well. With both, well, not so much Cuba, but with Transformers and Bumblebee, it looks sort of realistic. And then also has an artist style of Cuba and the Two Strings. So it'd be really cool if like we had this live action sort of film, and like the Pokemon was like stop motion sort of characters or something like that. I think
would be interesting.
yeah, he could do something really, really creative with it. And both films are probably one of the better. Well, Cuba and the Two Strings is good, but Bumblebee is like one of the highly regarded ones in regards to the Transformers franchise. So I think he'll be able to get a good story out of it. And with Pokemon, you don't really need that great of a story. Really, it's just everyone's there to see those Pokemon. So if he can just nail the way they look and feel and interact, then he can nail that.
Okay.
What was the third one?
Sean Levy.
Sean Levy. I'm actually gonna go with Nathan's answer as well.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I think Paul King would make it too cutesy.
Yeah,
And
kitty.
kind of give that warm family feel, and like that's fine. But I think Detective Pikachu kind of did that already. I'd like to see it take itself a little bit more seriously and have a little bit more emotional stakes to the story. I think that's what kind of was great with Bumblebee as well. It's kind of this person discovering this creature or thing or whatever, and just kind of bonding with it and creating that emotional attachment. I think we could really get that in Pokemon, and just for them to flesh that out into a larger story, I think he would be the best person to kind of start that.
Yeah, when you said about Bumblebee, about how it's this character finding something unknown and bonding with it,
Yeah.
the first thing I thought of was Bumblebee's yellow, Pikachu's yellow. So it's literally like Ash. He can like recreate that whole like dynamic.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I was coughing. Yeah, I think the chemistry between Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee is actually really, really strong in Bumblebee. So yeah, I think that's a great answer. I was actually momentarily Paul King all the way, just because I think he's able to create a sense of magic, and there's a little bit of magic to Pokemon. They're very kind of like mysterious, ethereal beings in a way.
Yeah.
Not so much in Wonka, but there is still magic in Wonka. It's just a different kind.
Literal chocolate magic.
Yes, that's true. He's a wizard, literal wizard.
Isn't that what they said though? He's got like magical
Chocolate or
abilities?
something? Yeah.
I guess he does. I don't know. It's so random. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like those answers. The next one is Mass Effect. Now I'm almost certain you have not played this, and I don't think you have. Have you played it, Nan?
1 and 2, not 3.
Okay. Well, at least you know. Do you
know
know
what
of Mass Effect?
Yeah, I know of Mass Effect, yeah.
Okay. So it's basically a big space opera where you have to recruit a team all over the galaxy to like fight a common kind of ancient alien. And it's very ensemble-y. But I picked 3 directors who work within the sci-fi genre. No, Denis Villeneuve is not on here. But 3 that I think that could provide a different kind of flavor to each adaptation. Now, this is very much a space opera, so it's big scale. We're taking big picture, potentially trilogy tier. The first one is Alex Garland, with his experience in Ex Machina and Devs and stuff like that. Annihilation. The second is Ryan Johnson, with his experience within Star Wars and Looper. And the third is Neil Blomkamp, District 9, Elysium.
I like those last 2 options really, really good. Or really, really well. I think I'll just go with Ryan Johnson. I mean, he made Last Jedi, and that was not... It was a controversial movie for sure, but it was still... It was good at the end of the day. And I think he was just not given justice to see his proper vision go out the way that he wanted to. But if he was to helm this project and say it's ends up becoming a trilogy, he'll be the puppeteer of this entire trilogy. He's already captured space really well, and his character writing in, say, Glass Onion and Knives Out, he can clearly handle multiple characters really, really well. So in regards to going out and recruiting this crew, I think he'll be able to capture each character really well, and where people can, get behind them emotionally or show some sort of emotion to them, whether it be happiness, sadness, or anger. So yeah, I think he'll just be the best fit to make everything work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. Alex Garland, I don't think he... Yeah, I don't think he has director chops or something like that. Nor do I think he would even want to do it. I am torn a little bit on Neil Blomkamp. I think visually, he can create something a little bit more grounded. Whether Mass Effect really needs that or not, I don't know. But I think for kind of the scale and scope of what those games are, I think perhaps it might be good to have some grounding in it. But I think overall, kind of for the reasons that Nan said, I think Ryan Johnson is probably the most vetted director to pull something like this off, working within that franchise scope while having more of a sci-fi touch than Alex Garland with Ex Machina. But yeah, I would go Ryan Johnson for this, even though it'd be my kind of first real exposure at a Mass Effect game.
100%. Okay. Cool. Next game here on the list is Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this is highly stylized, very stylized, in fact. So I picked directors who I think have that touch of style to them, that they could portray that sort of cyberpunk feel. The first is Nicholas Winding Refn, who did Drive. You know, he did Neon Demon and those sorts of movies. He's got that very sleek stylization to it. He's not the best writer, but he does create style. The second is Robert Rodriguez. Now, you know, you've got stuff like Sin City that he's done, and then which is that stylization. But then he's worked within sci-fi with Alita Battle Angel. And then the third is actually David Leitch, Atomic Blonde, Fall Guy, Bullet Train. So, you know, he's more of in that sort of generic realm of Hollywood, but, you know, he's still able, like, with something like Bullet Train and Atomic Blonde, very stylized sort of director. Who do you think would be best for it?
Who was the first?
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go him.
Ooh.
I don't know the story of Cyberpunk, so if writing's such a crucial element to the game, I would have to reconsider. But I have not played the game to like as far as how the story goes, so I just don't know the story to really make too much of a comment on that. But in terms of his directing chops when it comes to the stylization and kind of crafting the frame, I think he would be the best one to kind of pull it off, because I've seen loads of imagery around it and kind of the stylization and, you know, how the city looks and that kind of touch that it has. I think I would really like to see what he could do with it, give him a big budget and just see what kind he could do. There's some risk element to him, I think.
Yeah.
But, you know, the way Drive balances not only its visual side, but also the score, I would imagine the score being almost something similar to what Cyberpunk would need. And so I think he would be a good director in kind of bringing those visual and audio elements to it. It's just really based on the story where I can't make too much judgment on.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to go the generic route and pick David Lynch.
David
Lynch?
Leitch.
Oh, yeah, David Leitch.
Yeah.
I just think he'll capture like the style and visual sort of cyberpunk pretty well, similar to Bullet Train with the whole neon lighting and stuff like that of Japan. He'll be able to bring that into this sort of world and make
Yeah.
it feel like really punky. Just in regards to the story, as James, I haven't played the game. I've only seen gameplay of it, so I can't comment on regards in that region. But I'm sure he'll have bugs in there somewhere during the movie. But
Cinema just glitches out.
yeah, I think just in terms of the environments and the look feel of Cyberpunk, I think he'll do
I
a good
think
job.
he's the safest one, but I just don't think you're going to get anything bold. The other two director options you had there were more of it'd be a bit of a swing for the studio to go with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like I would just go for like the basic option in my one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I probably
you think
agree
it's
with you there, James. I think bold is beautiful here.
Yeah.
I think that I wouldn't actually be that excited for it if I heard David Leitch was doing it, or if I heard that.
I feel like you're never excited for any of his
Robert-
movies.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm really not. It's just
Did you see Bullet Train?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's entertaining. Like
fun,
you know,
yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is now. I don't know if you've heard of this one, James, but it is a Rockstar game. It's their other franchise, Bully.
Bully.
I thought you were going to say Midnight Club for a second.
No, so Bully is an old Rockstar game that was kind of in between the Grand Theft Auto and long before Red Dead.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
And you literally play as the bully in this game.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it could be a really kind of cool
Fascinating.
kind of journey, like to watch into a movie like from the perspective of a bully. And here are the three directors that I think could be right for it: Richard Linklater,
Oh, yeah.
Greta Gerwig, Sofia Coppola.
I'll look in Richard Linklater.
Whoa, that was a fast answer.
Pretty easily. I've seen what's it? Boyhood.
Boyhood.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
3-hour one where he shot it over like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
I think he just kind of understands the dynamics of kind of boyhood and just more so from the male perspective than if it is going to follow a male bully and that.
What if it's
journey.
not?
If it's a girl, and then the other ones, maybe Greta Gerwig. She can extract like a lot from source material. I think she did it with Barbie, like far beyond than what it actually appears. But I think Richard Linklater would be something more emotionally resonant than what Greta Gerwig can do. If it's going to be based on like a girl version of the bully, then Greta Gerwig's a great shout. I couldn't be mad at that one at all. But from the basis on my brief look at what I just saw what the bully was, Richard Linklater's the guy.
Okay, yeah,
He's the
that's
one.
a good
He's the one.
shout.
Yeah.
Nan.
Yeah, I have no idea. I probably should have looked up what this game was.
You haven't heard of it either?
No, I haven't heard of it. I'll probably just go get Greta Gerwig because I know her work a lot more than the other two. I think I've seen more of her movies, so I know somewhat what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
I thought apart from Barbie, it was a bit different. So I'll just look in her. Like, we still know that she can write and direct a good sort of centralized story. And if, say that the bully was a female, we know that that's her forte, is directing female-led sort of films.
Yeah.
So I think she'll be able to capture that, and she'll probably have not quite a twist, but a message in there that will probably be able to captivate and resonate with the audience as well.
Yeah, from what we saw in Lady Bird, like she's really good at like kind of pulling those I don't know, those struggling like things that we have growing up and you know, adolescence. Yeah.
Yeah, I can just see it generically being like, oh, the bully's parents
Like, are being abused. Yeah, they're
abuse
being.
him, so he takes it out. It's like,
Yeah.
I would love to see one where, like, you know, there's no abuse at home. There's just like a really poor character trait that's developed.
Like a
and some-
trust fund kid kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's
Or
like a
just-
rich kid syndrome.
or
Or,
bad parenting.
yeah,
I
maybe
would
like
like-
more like instead of abusive, more like neglectful. Like the parents is not around, and so they're like they have to figure
I
out
feel
their
like
own
we've seen that
identity.
loads though.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
like the parents always traveling for work, and he's just kind
Yeah.
of with the housemaid at home and stuff.
yeah.
I don't know, but I would like to see it where the character changes from the bully to kind of sticking up. Well, we've seen it with certain characters. The first one comes to mind is like Steve from Stranger Things, and you know, that kind of arc, people really attach to it.
Yeah, it's a good arc.
but doing it in a way that kind of like the focus would be on that character.
Yeah.
And the usually like the catharsis point is usually like they're getting heartbroken by a girl that makes them change or something like that.
Yeah.
Something a little bit different. But
Yeah, something different.
that one's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next one is Fortnite. Of course, that had to be in here. Now, I picked a few directors here that I think. All right. First one is Taika Waititi.
Oh no. No.
What, bro?
Oh, I knocked you!
The second is John Favreau. You know, the progenitor of a lot of these franchises.
Yeah.
And the third is Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
Phil Lord and
Yeah.
Christopher Miller.
I agree. Easy by landslide.
Easy. Yep.
Easy
Yeah.
shout.
Because they have shown that they aren't afraid to go bold with some of their stuff. I think Spider-Verse, the first one when it came out, was a bold move to have those kind of that animation style and really kind of push the boundaries. And look how influential it's become, right? So I think having their kind of, you know, style in it would be good, and to adapt what feels like one of those impossible games to adapt, because there really is no story to Fortnite other than kind of
Just dropping in.
the arcs across seasons,
Yeah.
but no characters really. You're just
Oh, you
kind
got
of
the blonde
playing-
guy.
Pardon?
The blonde guy. He's been a mainstay of it.
Oh, like well, the default skin.
Yeah.
But they don't have like voices or stories or
No,
anything.
they
That's
don't.
true, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know. It seems so hard to adapt, but I would love to see what they do. They would bring a more comedical edge to it. They're really good with comedy. And like Mitchell's vs. Machines, I'm pretty sure it's them too as well.
Yeah.
Being able to balance like comedy and high emotional stakes. That's something that Fortnite would need, I think, to be somewhat interesting.
Yeah, and I think they'll also be able to like bring in, you know, how we have all these different sort of popular characters in it, like Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think they'll be able to handle bringing those sort of characters if they get approval, obviously, and really, really well. Like, say, and across the Spider-Verse, all those different versions of Spider-Man and stuff in that one scene. You could literally have like a 2-minute scene of like, we have all these like iconic characters and just people like trying to shoot each other and stuff like that.
Yeah. I have no idea how it would work. Yeah.
But it'll be interesting, and it'll probably, there will be a game at some point.
I think it would have to be like a squad, like
Yeah,
these
a
four characters,
can't be an
yeah.
individual, eh?
Yeah,
or
and
a duo,
Pardon?
a duo.
Yeah, you could
Like,
do a duo.
you know, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
one of the duo dies early. Oh no, and then it becomes 1917.
Or you could just do like, solos and just multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the feeling it would be maybe a combination of all of those where all the characters are going in there like little different journeys, and then it all collides at the end to battle royale.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
Yeah, I mean, or you could like build a world outside the island that they drop into where, groups of people are forced to go and fight on this island to represent their country or something, chosen at random, Hunger Games style. But yeah, it's completely new world building for what Fortnite is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to build around Fortnite, and then the main event of that battle royale is kind of like that last hour climax where they're thrown into this and they have to survive.
Yeah. I think that's probably the only way to do it.
Yeah, odd one to do, but I mean they did Minecraft, so
True.
they can kind of do anything at this point.
I think it's inevitable at this point that it's done. I think we'll get it.
Yeah,
Eventually.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, last two. This one is Metal Gear Solid. Long-standing franchise, very much an espionage sort of situation. The three directors are Doug Liman, who did The Bourne Identity and Edge of Tomorrow. The second is Gareth Evans, who did The Raid. And the third is Michael Mann, who did Heat and Collateral.
I like the first two. Just for visually styles and hand-to-hand combat, I'll probably go with the Raid director.
Ooh, okay.
But in terms of like the entire story, I'll probably go with the Bourne director because obviously that's what Metal Gear Solid is similarly about, is that espionage sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So he'll obviously be able to create a better story out of that. But just visually, I just love to see, Snake just go in there and just like beat people up in the most like natural sort of looking way.
And it's sort of like with good action, basically.
Good action, good cinematography. So I'll probably pick him. And in regards to the story, I think the Metal Gear Solid would be just a popcorn, go in there and have fun sort of film if I were to pick that director. So
Okay.
that's the sort of the route I'm going at, is having fun with the movie rather than a story.
Okay. Cool. James.
I would have to pass this one. I have not played Metal Gear Solid in any capacity or really even know what it visually entails compared to the other ones we've done before. So I really have no basis to kind of form an opinion.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not too different of an opinion to you now. I mean, I'd probably go with probably Doug Liman, who did Edge of Tomorrow. I think he'd be able to produce something that's pretty close to what Metal Gear feels like.
Yeah.
All right, and the final one is Gears of War. Now, three directors for this. I tried to go for some people who I knew would be able to produce maybe a slightly more gritty tone, but each are not your typical selection here. They're not all of them are great directors. So I've got David Ayer, Suicide Squad, and others. Zack Snyder. And the third is Fede Alvarez, who did Alien Romulus and Evil Dead.
I would pick Fede Alvarez because at least Alien Romulus is a good film compared to the other two directors. And I think...
Both Zack Snyder and David Ayer have made a good film.
Yeah, I know, but not recently.
True. True.
Like, I can fully see Zack Snyder just going all in visually.
Yeah.
And capturing the beasts and stuff like that. So I think he'll be really, really good for that. But just in terms of like a proper, action sort of film, I think Alvarez will be able to nail it really, really well in terms of the creatures. They really like the use of practical effects, and they'll probably use that as well. And the story between Kaylee Spaney's character and her AI robot brother in Alien Romulus, you could sort of feel that bond, and I think they'll be able to replicate that with I forgot their
Marcus.
names. Yeah, Marcus and his brother as well.
Yeah.
As they go out through this journey, and if it's pretty much a 3-game trilogy, then I think by the time that third movie hits, would know her craft style and story and the characters really well for the emotional moment. So it's my pick.
Cool. All right.
I'll go for the Zack Snyder one.
Yo!
I'll take the bait. I think Zack Snyder has the best visual touch from the directors that you have mentioned.
Yeah.
And I feel like that video game would need it. I've played it very briefly. I haven't played through the story, so I don't really know the characters in the story that much. So maybe that's why I'm choosing Zack Snyder, because from a story side of things, you're not
Yeah.
going to get good stuff, at least based on his current track record. But yeah, I think Zack Snyder, just the way he likes to use slow-mo, the quick pans, the like real stylized cinematography, I think would fit so well with that franchise.
I think it would fit.
And I think it would bring in a lot of people that aren't familiar with the games to that series. And so I think he's the best one if the story can stick, which is
Yeah.
a big if for Snyder.
Okay. All right, awesome. Well, that is it for the video game versus. Thank you for participating.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good. It was fun little
It
segment.
was,
eh?
yeah. Some good choices there, and yeah, good options. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
Defy the norms. We were just discussing this prior in one of our little breaks that our kind didn't choose any mainstream directors, like Nolan, Villeneuve, and Spielberg and stuff like that. Probably the only main director you probably did choose was Tarantino.
Yeah.
But besides that, they were all good options. So yeah, good fun. We might see it down the road in the next 5 episodes again,
Maybe.
Yeah.
or some sort of adaptation to it. All right, so we'll carry on with the podcast. So the next topic is the Fantastic Four trailer that dropped a couple days or weeks ago. I can't remember now.
A week ago, I think.
A week ago.
Last weekend, yeah.
Yeah, so we got our first look at Silver Surfer and Mr. Fantastic Stretchy Powers, along with a bit more information as well. So, Khan, you love MCU so much. What did you think
Just
of
a
this
meme
trailer?
on this podcast now.
I mean, I didn't think too much of it, surprisingly. I mean, I could maybe see a little bit more cast chemistry than I did in the first trailer, but beyond that, it didn't do anything for me. It didn't give me anything. I'm only really interested in the post-credit scene and how this will link into Doomsday. That's literally all that interests me about it.
I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that the thing is that all the rest of the stuff surrounding it is really just like, I know it's just going to be relatively generic stuff I've probably seen before. It's like Silver Surfer comes to Earth. I'm here on behalf of Galactus. Okay, well, we need to stop you. It's just the sort of same kind of thing we've seen before.
Literally the second Fantastic Four. From
Correct.
2005 or 7. One of the two, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm not blown away by my hype for it. I just don't. It's not there. I don't care about a female Silver Surfer. I mean, it makes no difference to me who the Silver Surfer is, as so long as they're well written.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be intriguing, I guess, to see how kind of Galactus and Silver Surfer fit into the larger part of Fantastic Four. Is like their stories over these like movies, the future movies as well, because surely they can't die in this one, where Silver Surfer sacrifices her life to kill Galactus. Like, surely not. I just can't imagine that.
Not in the first. That would have angered me so much. Like, killing off these two like big villains in like first movie. But they're not even part of the actual MCU.
Yeah, I'll say that Silver Surfer looks dreadful, terrible,
Does.
awful design. I was looking forward to kind of an update in the way that kind of Silver Surfer would look. I think it's such a visually intriguing character, and the way you could make it look could get really interesting and kind of like almost like Doctor Strange levels of kind of illusion based.
Yeah.
But it's clearly not going for that. Just really look like a kind of metallic person. Not much. I'm really on the same basis as Kyan here. I just, you put this in one of our topics to discuss today, and I'm thinking back from a trailer I watched a week ago, and I can't really think of much that really sticks out to me. Invisible Woman being pregnant, I think that's a really cheap and easy way to kind of create this like feeling of family and kind of tying them together. Like you can do it through other like dynamics. You don't have to have this kind of like big event where she's pregnant and they have to protect her and stuff like that. So I don't know. From stuff I've heard about the characters and like the actors playing the characters, I'm worried. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just worried that they're going to kill off Galactus. That we're going to have
That's all
Kang.
you care about.
Yeah, pretty much. It's Kang all over again. Well, if it was set in the actual MCU timeline, in the MCU verse, I might care a bit more, but I know it's completely separate. And we all know that they're going to get put into it somehow through some multiverse sort of bullshit. So it's
Galactus
just
throws them in there. Well, Loki appears at the end of it,
probably.
and then he like
But
saves them.
there'll be some sort of loophole to like them surviving. And which is that it's not like they were built in the MCU like pretty much-
Galactus is the anchor being.
Oh, don't talk about anchor beings. Oh.
But yeah, I think I'm on the same wavelength as you guys. Trailer didn't really move the needle or change my excitement for it in any way.
Yeah.
Just more.
I'm excited for the thing. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think he's easily one of the best parts
Yeah,
of
even
both
Moss
trailers.
Barkrock, yeah, and just I feel like they're giving Thing a little bit more of his due. You wouldn't get that in any of the other movies.
No.
I'm keen to see how they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'll have to wait and see in July.
Yes, they'll sneak up on us.
All right, so this past Monday or Sunday for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, we got the second episode to Last of Us Season 2. So we all seen it, and obviously me and Kai have played the game. So, James, what was your thoughts on the second episode and what happened at the end?
Well, for anyone listening, this is obviously going to be spoiler based. You can't really discuss this episode without saying spoilers.
Correct.
I tried talking about it at work, and I have to be very careful with the way I say it. But yeah, this episode, man. No way you got to me first because I haven't played the games. I didn't know this was coming. I knew something big was coming because obviously you guys allude to it. Other people I've spoken to have alluded to something. And I knew like a major character was gonna die. I thought the last person would be Joel, Pedro Pascal's character. I thought it was awful. It's really bad. I'll say it from a storytelling perspective. I have no desire to continue watching the show. Like it's actually killed it. And it's the way they've kind of structured it, and it shows me how crucial in terms of adapting a game to a series or a film. They're two different mediums, and you need to write them for the medium itself. Just because the game's good doesn't mean the show's going to be good. What they've done with The Last of Us is they have really championed Pedro Pascal's character, Joel. Like, he's like the main person you watch. And they haven't really done much with anyone else. And so now that he's dead in the series, they've made Ellie annoying and just kind of irritating. And I mean, Bella Ramsey, in terms of the 5 year like difference from the old season, it's exactly the same character. At least from what I've watched, because I just recently watched the first season. So they feel the exact same. There's no growth, nothing for me to really latch on to there. And yeah, I think just like from what you've told me about the gameplay in terms of, you're mostly playing as Ellie, not Joel. You play sporadically as Joel, right? It's mostly Ellie you play as.
In the first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You primarily play as Joel. Yeah.
In the first game you play as Joel?
Primarily play as Joel.
Oh, right,
Second
okay.
game, it's the other way around, obviously.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. You said it was Ellie the entire time, so...
Did I?
Yeah.
No, you
Was it not
play as
referencing
Ellie
the
for
second?
like one mission.
Right.
And 2 missions.
Oh, right.
Yeah, in the first game.
In the first game.
Yeah. But the problem is that, we've all said that season 1 should have been 2 seasons long. We just didn't get enough from Joel throughout this entire series. It's been such limited time with him. And he's kind of just started his like growth or change. And sure, I guess the bold move is that he doesn't really get to finish it or repair his relationship with Ellie or whatever. And that's kind of like the shock factor to it, which is fine. But in the game, you've spent hours and hours and hours with him. But screen time with Joel is what, like maybe 5 hours, and that's pushing it in terms of actual screen time. And it feels so underdeveloped and just, and I think from a business perspective, stupid decision. Last of Us will die. I think the viewership will drop dramatically. I mean, I don't know if you guys see the hate towards Bella Ramsey playing, but it's everywhere, and I can't escape it. And I actually like Bella Ramsey.
It was the same in the first season. There was so
Yeah.
much hate towards her.
It was less so. It's way worse now, and I
It
think it's
is.
just because she's no longer a kid, and people feel they have more freedom to attack her.
Yeah, I like Bella Ramsey as an actress. I have no attachment to the game, so I can't judge. But the hate is just randomly just showing up in whatever I scroll through. And yeah, I think from a viewership perspective, this will slowly die down. Because people don't like Abby, they don't like Ellie, who they really got to rally behind. And I also thought the whole like town getting attacked, I thought that felt like last season Game of Thrones style, where every townsperson was getting more to death, and our main characters are just in the middle, just trigger happy firing. And I didn't feel the stakes at all there, and it was very brief, like a distraction. And there just needed to be more build up to all of that.
I 100% agree with what you're saying about the pacing of this show. Like that the character development needs to be stretched out to 2-3x. Because we don't have enough time to sit with it. In the games, you've got, you combine the two games together, you've got probably something like, I want to say 40 hours total with these characters. That's a huge amount of time. That's 40 full 1 hour episodes. That's like 6 seasons of pure presence. And while, you're not, like, a lot of that is like combat and downtime and stuff, but like it's not, you're still there, you're still building a presence with them.
Yeah, I think you mentioned in a private chat, like even when you're just doing something stupid like salvaging for scrap or just standing there, like there'll be times where Ellie's like reading out jokes, and then slowly throughout the game, the first one, Joel starts laughing and coming towards those jokes, whereas at the start of the game he's like, put the book away.
Yeah, it's so important to really get that. I think maybe the show needed another season in between to really build to where it is now. Where I disagree, though, is that this hasn't been adapted for screen, because there's actually a number of notable changes I've seen from the series from the game to the series.
Yeah.
And in if you think this is divisive, you should play the game, because it's even more divisive than this. In the game, you don't even know who Abby is, what her intentions are.
Yeah.
She just shows up, she kills Joel, and you don't find out till halfway through the game what her intentions were. Like,
pretty much.
And you think that people hate Abby now? Imagine the people who are playing the game and they force you to play as Abby.
Oh yeah,
I
know that
people
episode.
hated her. So I think that this is a move here to try and maybe bring audiences onto a more empathetic side of Abby to understand her motivations, because I don't yet think, and I'll say this, James, that you said you're going to stop here.
I'm not going to stop. The show's been great enough so far that I'll give it the faith to the end of the season, and then I'll see where I'm at. But in terms of just my overall desire,
Right, your desires, okay.
And I think I mimic non-game players, because I have seen a bunch of comments saying, "Yep, I'm checking out. See ya." Yeah, like.
Yeah, I think that what it is that the point behind what the story is telling has not yet been revealed to you, and that it will get revealed to you what the purpose of it all is. And also further to that, I would say that Joel's death in the game is not really the divisive part. It's the storytelling itself as a whole is the divisive part about the game.
I found the most divisive part is the ending of the game.
Correct.
That's
That's
probably
a
the
lot of
most-
people's opinion. The Joel death is like the one component to the divisive part.
Yeah,
You know.
and that's where I think it needs to be adapted for a more of a generalized audience than just game players.
Well, I don't know if it needs to be adapted for generalized audiences. I think the thing is what makes The Last of Us so strong, and part 2 won Game of the Year. But what makes it so strong is that it is bold with its decisions. I mean, it takes your lead character and it kills them right away, basically, right at the start of the second game.
Yeah,
And that's a hugely bold move, right? That's going like, I'm writing myself into a corner right now.
Yeah.
Like you really are taking a risk, and maybe it pays off, maybe it doesn't. There are a lot of people who love it, and there are a lot of people who hate it.
Yeah.
And it's where you're going to stand at the end. You may hate it, but then you might go, well, I kind of respect it. But
we'll
see.
Besides Game of Thrones, when is the main character gone? And Game of Thrones didn't define me, because Game of Thrones introduced you to loads of characters you could just kind of attach to their journeys following that. You don't have that with this show.
No, well, Ali is now your main character, so you need to, and also, I won't say anything else other than that. But Ali is now your replacement for Joel, going forward. That's how it will play out.
I just hope they kind of fix that character a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really like Bella Ramsey. I think that she's a phenomenal actress, and I think that people seem to have amnesia about how she did in the first season. Like, she wasn't fantastic in the first season. Like, there were plenty of scenes.
I thought she was good. She's really good.
Yeah, I thought there were scenes in there, like particularly one with Dave. You know, the guy who's like going to rape her and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. Like, her rage, her fear, like at the end when she's breaking down, like all of those things. It's like people seem to have amnesia about like how talented she is. And then, like these characters, they don't look the part, but, like at the end of the day, I would much prefer a convincing actor that can make me feel something than an actor who looks the part and I feel nothing and I kind of want to walk away and turn it off.
I don't doubt her acting abilities. It's the character itself. Like,
Yeah, it's the writing and the pacing.
The character swears all the time. It's completely unlikable, just miserable, treats everyone badly. It's just like, why do I care about this character? And I hope the show can give me new reasons now, because it kind of has to.
Yeah. I mean, you at least understand why she is that way towards Joel, right?
No.
You don't.
They don't explain it.
It doesn't happen until midway through the game.
But that is kind of, it's assumed,
No, not really.
But that she thinks that he lied
Yeah.
about that story.
She knows he lied.
How does she know? There's no confirmation.
No, there's no confirmation. But that's why she's mad at him, right? Because she assumes he lied.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. I know someone who went to the event that we went to, and he was like, we spoke about it at work afterwards, and he hasn't played the game, and he's just like, yeah, she's so annoying. Like, he's just trying to be good. Like, it doesn't tell you.
I thought, I mean, to me at least, and when I played The Last of Us Part 2, I knew why, when I was playing it, why she was pissed at him, but why she was cold.
Guess you're smarter
Well,
than
no,
average
because
fan.
it's,
I think because it gives you reasons that he's like overprotective, and I'm like, she's all like shitty at him about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, man, you're the Last of Us guy, Glazer. What do you want to call it?
Because it was on my most anticipated. Yeah. I think there's still a lot more storytelling and a lot more, like, as the season and series goes on, a lot more will be revealed.
A lot is to be
Like,
revealed.
within the game, it's not like this happened, and this is why, this is happening, but you're not going to find out why until later.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And I think that's what we're going to get in this series.
Yeah.
Probably the one thing I wish the series did do was follow the game straight with Abby, like have us no idea what her intentions were, and just have him kill Joel.
I think that it would just make people hate Abby more, and it wouldn't make you stand behind her character well. I think that it's the right move to actually make you empathize with her a lot more, because she's going to be a hard person to like and understand. And maybe that's where they went a little bit wrong in the game.
I get that, but I mean, even the whole thing about her dad dying, I'm like, oh, I get it, but I don't care. I just did not care. Also, the way he died, man, that's actually one of the things that got me angry. Like, of all people that he could save, he saves her, and then she
kills him.
Like, it's not convincing storytelling to me.
I think you're going to
so
learn. You'll learn with time kind of what the reasoning behind it all is. But yeah, I won't say anything more than that. Is that just wait and see, and then at the end maybe.
You keep saying it's divisive, but you don't say what side you stand on for the game. I know I loved it. The game.
There are parts of it that I can't really say anything again because there's so many spoilers about it. I mean,
do you love it or hate it?
I respect it, is what I would say. I have conflicts about the logic behind the motivations sometimes, but I would say I respect it for how bold it is. I can't say I adore the storytelling. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it does have a purpose.
Yeah.
And it has a meaning, and it succeeds at it. That doesn't mean that it will feel good.
Yeah, that's true. I'm very keen to see how viewership goes, just because like Ellie's your main now. I think Joel and Pedro Pascal is kind of the main reason that people jumped into the series. Yeah.
Especially with every single franchise Pedro's coming in or has been in.
Yeah.
Like he's in everything, so everyone is obviously rooting for him.
Imagine if he dies in Fantastic Four.
Oh, perfect. Then John Krasinski comes in for Doomsday as Mr. Fantastic.
No, we don't need that again.
All right. Cool. That's enough Last of Us talk, and it might be the last Last of Us talk on this podcast until the series finishes up.
Yeah.
So our next topic is $1 billion predictions of 2026. Self-explanatory, and I'm going to hand it over to James here. He'll let you guys know what it's all about.
It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Yeah. What movies in 2026 are going to make $1 billion? These are These are my predictions for this one. I continue to kind of hype up 2026 as a massive year for movies, and kind of when we restore balance in terms of streaming and cinemas and stuff like that. In terms of the most $1 billion movies, it's 2019, the year before COVID. I think 2026 will be tied with 2018, or come second in 2019, just because there's so much here. I did box office pie on our last one, so it's gonna reflect that a little bit. But in terms of the movies that will not make $1 billion, and I've tried to be a little bit bold. I've tried to go a little bit Last of Us in terms of shocking you guys, even if it doesn't make sense. Okay, Minions 3. I don't think they'll make $1 billion. I think that we're seeing the franchise very, very slowly just decline. And Minions 2 did not make $1 billion. Fast X Part 2, I think the franchise is dead and gone. I don't think it will even come out in 2026, but yeah, this franchise continues to go down. And even as the finale, I don't think that's enough. Jumanji 3, I've just mentioned it because the first one nearly got $1 billion. Jumanji 2 got like over 800 million. It's key season, but still won't be enough to get over that hump. Dune Messiah, I think Dune 2 is very, very close to the ceiling of it. Obviously, Dune Messiah, the source material of that story, I think it's going to be harder to do, or for Denis Villeneuve to work his magic on, but we'll see how that goes. If it is amazing, there is a chance. I just don't think it's going to get it. Toy Story 5, I don't think that will make $1 billion.
That's shocking.
Yeah, this is where I'm going with this one though. Every Toy Story movie has made more than the other. The last two have made over $1 billion, but I think Toy Story 4 made about $5 million more than Toy Story 3. And you consider the 9-year gap, and you adjust for inflation, all that kind of stuff. There's a massive difference, and it does show. I think there is a bit of a decline. I think some franchise fatigue might kick in, and considering Toy Story 3 and 4 only were like 50, 60 million over the $1 billion hump, the margin of error is a lot smaller for it. And so I think you could see a slight dip. I think over 900 million is a safe bet. But if it decides to be amazing and great, it could go all inside out and get that $1.4 billion. There is potential for that. I just think this franchise continues to say goodbye and then come back again. Yeah. It has to actually stick with it this time. And I did hear that buzz and Woody are reuniting.
Yeah, which is so stupid.
Yeah, it makes the Toy Story 4 a little bit more redundant now. And this might be obvious, but Mandalorian and Grogu, I think I want this movie to succeed. And I do think it will do well. It's just not going to be $1 billion. I think Star Wars has completely gotten rid of its $1 billion reliancy now. It's no longer the cash cow that it was. The reputation is stained, despite kind of Andor doing well. And The Mandalorian has done well, and it kind of did start Disney Plus as one of this major second biggest streaming platforms. So, yeah, I hope it does well. It just needs to be outstandingly great to get in that $1 billion club. Now we'll start the 2026. What will make $1 billion? We'll start with the obvious one. Avengers Doomsday. I think that will. Yeah.
Definitely. Almost $2 billion.
Yeah, we'll see where it can get to $2 billion or not. That's more of the key story for that one. The Super Mario Bros. Movie 2, unless it's atrocious, like to the point where it's unwatchable, it's not making $1 billion. But Super Mario Bros. 1 was trash and made $1 billion. So safe bet this one's going to do it as well. We'll go with the obvious one. Shrek 5. This one is a question whether it's going to get to $2 billion as well. I think there is a real chance for it to get $2 billion, maybe even $2.5 billion with the December release date.
2.5 is insane.
If Nizar 2 can get to $2 billion in one market, it's not outlandish to say Shrek 5, probably the most anticipated animated movie in the last decade to get there, at least Hollywood produced. I think that there's a perfect argument for it, and it's releasing in December, and we know how movies overinflate in that time. Just like Spider-Man No Way Home got to 1.9 without China? Yeah, it would have gone to like 2.2 with China. So there's a case to be made there. Speaking of that though, Spider-Man 4, I think it's obviously going to be over $1 billion after Doomsday, before Secret Wars. Here we get to some kind of bold ones. The Odyssey. Might be obvious, but there's a real chance that it goes under it because it's about this Greek mythology. It's hard for audiences to really get on board with that. The material may be a bit too intellectual for general audiences to wrap their head around. But Nolan's always been fantastic at adapting for generalized audience and for the cinema going experience and for repeat watches. I think that will be crucial for this. So if Oppenheimer, what was that, a 3-hour movie? Not the most interesting subject, can get to $970 million. There's no reason for me to believe that they honestly can't do it. And then Moana live action. Nayan doesn't like that. Moana 2 got to $1 billion pretty easily. It opened high, wasn't good. People knew it wasn't good. It dropped hard, still made $1 billion. You add The Rock into a live action movie, put a Disney budget behind it. I think $1 billion is a fairly safe bet. And unless Moana 2 hasn't completely ruined the franchise, I think $1 billion it's more safer than Toy Story 5 in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Any
I have no objections. I think
like
that that's mostly right, except for the fact that Shrek 3 would earn $2.5 billion. I know you're being exaggerating there. That it could earn that on
I think like ceiling wise, that could be
but
recovery.
I think that it will absolutely earn over $1 billion, but I don't think it will earn over 2.
I think it could be close. It really depends on how it performs internationally. I think domestically it's going to be 800 million plus.
I also think on how the marketing is going to be because we saw that teaser and we were all put off by it.
That's true.
So if they're going to keep that sort of animation style and if the trailers are god awful,
I reckon they'll fix it.
That's true, but we can all
I think
agree.
it's going to get the Sonic treatment. I think so. But if they don't, then I don't.
Well, who knows where it goes?
That will hurt its box office massively. But I think either way, $1 billion locked.
Yeah.
What about Toy Story 5, Nan?
I think it could get there. Unlikely, but I think it could get there. I think it might.
Billion.
I think it might hit $1 billion. They will probably market it as the last and another, another
It's like Mission
thing.
Impossible.
Yeah.
And like they'll plug on all the original, all the nostalgia and stuff like that, and it'll get there just.
Their stories have.
Yeah.
come to this
I don't
moment.
think it's gonna because you said that every Toy Story has outgrossed the other. I think that stats it ended here. But I think it could scrape to $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, if Jurassic World Dominion can scrape to $1 billion, this can.
It's true, but what's the stronger franchise?
Jurassic World.
Correct. I don't know. In terms of box office performance, perhaps.
Yeah. In
But
terms
yeah,
of quality, no.
those are the $1 billion predictions of 2026. As we get to our last 4 episodes, I will not be doing any more 2026 stuff, I don't think. Maybe Victor of the Picture.
Maybe Victor of the Picture. But yeah, when 26 comes around, 2027, and all these predictions come true, don't bother messaging us because we won't be looking because the podcast has ended. So if you really, really want to know, come back and see how James did in his predictions. All right, so we had some big news this week coming out in regards to Oscars. So the big news is that there's a criteria now within the Academy that they have to watch every movie that has been nominated for. Ridiculous, right? You would think that they would have done this already, but it turns out no, they don't watch every single film if they're voting on a particular category or anything at all. So yeah, like I said, they have to watch every film within that category. They're not allowed to vote if they haven't shown proof or something that they have watched all the films. And this current Oscar season, there were some comments out there where people had not or refused to watch a show or stop watching, well, not a show, a movie, or stop watching a movie halfway through, but they still went ahead and voted. So clearly, some movies didn't benefit from it, and some movies did, I guess. But yeah, not surprising news, guys, right?
Not surprising. This should have been what? When the inception of the Oscars, they should have. Yeah, this shouldn't even be news if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, I was at lunch the other day at work and I heard people talking about this behind me, just been like, and they're like, huh? Like, weren't they always doing that? And then, so yeah, it's kind of gone beyond like Cinephiles' kind of news because it is kind of shocking that they would even allow this kind of stuff. And I definitely think those comments that we saw come through those anonymous Oscar ballots this year really prompted this because some of the things were just outrageous, especially towards Dune. And that may be where we see like kind of I don't know, a certain bias towards sequels. It's like, oh, I didn't like the first one, so I'm not going to watch this. And like, yeah, but they would just miss like certain voters would just miss like The Brutalist. You know, I watched 1 hour, put it away, and I just didn't feel the need to come back to it.
And yet it was like the last 2 hours where it started to kick in.
Yeah, it's just like those comments were like, okay, you're kind of taking this prestigious award ceremony and you're making it look like a joke. Like you have to take it seriously. I think the Academy should probably trim down their Oscar voting base. They seem to have thousands upon thousands.
Or like fact check them, or
Yeah.
do some sort of CV process. make
How
sure-
they do it, it's going to be interesting. I would imagine they now probably have to watch it through their screener software system that they have, or provide proof that they attended kind of their Oscar screening events, or perhaps they show like a movie ticket, or that they went and saw like a press screening.
I think the movie ticket thing is a bad idea because anyone can just buy a movie ticket and not go
Why would you do that?
to show that they've seen the movie.
But why? Okay, but like, why would an Oscar voter go and like, hey, can I have one ticket to Brutalist?
I don't know. Or
Bye.
Okay, or they could go to the Brutalist, not like it, and walk out an hour. Similar to how that guy just didn't rewatch.
Yeah, but the point is that it reduces the amount of like false positives to the point where it's like kind of inconsequential now. Like the amount of people that would do that, it's not meaningful anymore because most people, they've made it too difficult for people to sort of get away with it.
Yeah.
You know, the screener one could be pretty easy. You know, you just have the screener there, and if you haven't
do
moved your
chores.
mouse in X amount of time, then it pauses and it doesn't count, or like it tags it and they didn't watch it for this amount of time, and then it creates a score at the end saying your score is negative or hasn't matched, so you haven't watched it properly, so it doesn't count. Please rewatch.
It records you like watching it.
Yeah, no, that's invasion, but like you know.
like you like look away and it starts like beeping.
Yeah, but like I could imagine something like that. But I think that this is the right move, of course, or should have always been the case. And I just make sure from my understanding, is that if someone's going to watch, like say for example, a movie that's been nominated for Best Picture, they have to watch all of them.
Yeah.
That's how it has to be, you know, and that's the way it will be.
100%.
Yeah.
There's not much to say other than like this is obvious. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it shouldn't be news, but it is.
Like if there's anyone on the other side of the fence, then you're just clearly stupid.
That is a way to put it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to another segment James is going to spearhead. And as buy, rent, sell, except it is the 2024 edition.
Yes, because Nayan, he was a big advocate for us doing on this podcast, this episode, doing our top 10 for 2024, along with what most disappointing and worst as well. Yeah. I said no, and then Kyan said no, just because.
It's too late, but we've done our top 10s in April and May before, so
And
it
that
is
was
still
awful.
justified.
I don't mind that it was late. It just wasn't a strong year where it's like, oh yeah, I have these movies that I just want to like rank and see.
Could have done top 5.
It's like what I said to you like last night. I don't even know what would be first. I would have to really think about it. And usually I have like, at least 1 to 3 like locked in, like, okay, I love those movies. Nothing I really loved like massively in 2024, I'd say. But we'll kick it off now. The 2024 edition of Buy Rent Sale. The first ones I got are Anora, The Substance, and Nosferatu.
Nora, The Substance, and Nosferatu.
I'd buy Nora because I enjoy that more than the other two films.
Horror.
I'd,
Horror.
yeah, get in there. I would rent Substance because that's the second one I enjoyed, and I would sell Nosferatu.
Crazy stuff.
Kind does not like that one.
No.
Kind of buy Nosferatu, rent. This is my
Don't
prediction.
predict my. Don't do that. All right, I will buy Nosferatu.
Yeah, see.
Oh, I think I'll. Oh, that's hard. I think I'll rent Nora and I'll sell Substance.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I need to watch The Substance again, but I think I would like to watch Nora again. That's the justification I'm using. I think The Substance was good, but and it's very stylish and interesting, but Nora I think I respect it a bit more. Yeah.
Fair enough. I would buy The Substance. So we all went different buys, which is cool. I really enjoyed it. I think it's just such an entertaining watch while having so much meanings behind it that I would love to just kind of jump in there again and just do it. Funnily enough, I do have it in my collection. I would rent Nora and I would sell
Nosferatu.
Yeah, Nora.
Who sells?
I was kind of mixed on Nora coming out of it when we saw it together.
You were.
I watched it a second time, loved it. And I think I've watched it a third time, I might even like it even more. It's just kind of a movie that grows on you. So
Yeah.
as long as I can watch it another time, I'll be sweet. All right, another one. All very different ones here. The Brutalist, Flow, Wicked.
Wow. The Brutalist, Flow, and Wicked. Oh, I think I would buy Flow. I would rent The Brutalist and I would sell Wicked.
Because of the production design.
Yeah, because green. green face paint. I'm not so big on Wicked. I mean, I thought it was, and I do like musicals. I didn't buy into the hype. It's not that I didn't buy into the hype. It's just that it was overhyped for me, and I had really high expectations going in, and they weren't met.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that was like completely fine. As a movie. The Brutalist, on the other hand, I mean, it's very long, and I don't think I'd watch it again, to be honest with you. But again, it's a respect thing. I respect it more than I respect Wicked. And Flow, I think, is an easy rewatch.
Yeah.
It's such an easy rewatch. It's something you can put on a rainy Sunday and just sit down and watch and chill.
Yeah, watch and chill. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
I'd buy Flow. Same reasons as you said, it's the more rewatchability and it's also a really great film too. I'm stuck on the other two because I don't think I would rewatch the other two. And if I had to rewatch one, it would be Wicked, and that would be before Wicked Part 2.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I'd guess I'd rent out Wicked for those sort of reasons, and then probably sell Brutalist because I just don't think I can watch that again.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Going the exact same order as you, Nan. Buying Flow, renting Wicked, and selling The Brutalist for the exact same reasons as well. All right, next one. Okay, buy, rent, sell, A Complete Unknown, Mufasa the Lion King, Furiosa.
Oh, okay.
I'd buy Furiosa only because I have Furiosa.
It's not a decision. Yeah, it's so obvious.
No, I was trying to think of what other films you said. I would rent A Complete Unknown and sell Mufasa.
I'm the exact same.
I would buy A Complete Unknown.
Whoa, okay.
I would rent Mufasa, the Lion King, and
No.
sell Furiosa.
No way.
I just think Furiosa is not a good movie.
Holy cruds.
It was just so bad. I never got into it. And the action was down from Fury Road.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was a bad movie. I just think it was nowhere near as good as Fury Road.
It was.
And it was nothing like Fury Road. It's like more stuff like the original Mad Max.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a very different kind of movie as well.
But it's such a movie that relies on action when it's not that engaging. It's just.
I'll tell you what, it's more engaging than The Lion King. And it's more engaging.
Bye.
No, I would do it for my Disney collection.
Terrible justification.
No. And a complete unknown, Timothy. Speaking of Timothy, buy, rent, sell, Dune Part 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, The Wild Robot.
I'd buy Doom Part 2, I would rent The Wild Robot, and I would sell Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like Deadpool and Wolverine. I actually enjoyed it. It's my favorite of the Deadpools. But I don't respect it. I like it and don't respect
Just
it.
'cause it's the
It's a
MCU.
guilty. It could be almost like a guilty pleasure kind of movie, but I don't even think I really gained pleasure. I think it was just entertaining. And then the other two were
Dune Part 2 and Wild
Doom,
Robot.
I mean Doom Part 2 needs no introduction. Wild Robot is good in rewatchability. Yeah.
Well, I already own Doom Part 2, so is that an automatic buy, or can I just be like, oh,
I
rent
mean
that out?
that's a buy, but do you also own the Wild Robot?
No, I don't.
You love The Wild Robot and
do.
you like Deadpool and Wolverine.
I do. So I'll buy Doom, because obviously I have it, and I would... I think I'm the same as Kai. I'd rent Wild Robot, and I'd sell Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
This one's a hard one because in terms of rewatchability, Deadpool and Wolverine and Wild Robot are far better than Doom Part 2. But from a respect point of view, you got to buy Doom Part 2.
Especially if you have the first one, like you need to complete the set pretty much.
But also, I actually don't think that Deadpool and Wolverine will have great rewatchability into the future. From my experience, Deadpool was terrible. It ages terribly. It doesn't age well.
I've watched it a few times.
Yeah, I feel this is different compared to Deadpool 1 and 2. This one is a lot more fun. And I think it's because of the dynamic between
Yeah,
Ryan
it
Reynolds
bounces
and...
off
That is
Wolverine a
true.
lot better. Yeah, it's not just Deadpool where he becomes overwhelming.
That's true.
You
That
get
is true.
two very different kind of comedies in there. Yeah, but I'm gonna be the same as you guys. Buy Dune Part 2, rent the Wild Robot, and then sell Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay. Like all of them though.
Yeah.
Here we go. Buy, rent, sell, Civil War, Alien Romulus, Challenges.
Oh, that's a good one.
I got two of those films. I would buy Civil War, because see, we're not doing my top 10, that was my number one.
Oh. Nice little Easter egg there. That was number one. My God.
Wow.
Yep.
Weak year.
It's a good film. What were the
It is
other
a
two?
great film.
Challenges, and what was the other one?
Alien Romulus.
I'd rent Alien Romulus. I think that just that was fantastic in terms of like thrilling and tension wise. And I'll probably sell Challenges.
Bought Challenges.
But yeah, I know.
Yeah. And not Alien Romulus.
Because I don't even. Is it out?
Yes.
Oh, well, it wasn't out when I went to fucking JB.
I'm close to Nan, but I would buy Civil War. I would rent Challenges, and I would sell Alien Romulus. I really like Alien Romulus as part of it.
Yeah.
And it's surprising to me because it's a horror technically, but I've seen it. I don't need to see it again. I think it did actually a lot of things that I've seen before anyway in the Alien franchise. It's a good movie. I just don't need to have it. I would prefer to have Challenges.
Yeah. This one's a hard one. They're all great, but in different ways, so it's hard to kind of
Yeah.
know what you do. I think I would buy Challenges. Yeah, I would buy Challenges. That's the easy one. Oh, see, I want to say I want to rent Alien Romulus because of the rewatchability side of it, and I really love what it did. But I also I do like Civil War a lot. But I think I would rent Alien Romulus and I would sell Civil War only by the smallest of margins. That one. I really like Civil War, but I don't find myself wanting to watch it again. I was kind of happy with what I got. I think the ending of it underwhelmed me slightly. From my memory, yeah.
Well, the ending to me was like
One of the best parts.
one of the best parts and
Yeah.
one of the most like shocking to me, like how it ended.
The climax, so like not like the action at the end or anything. It's just like the annoyance of that one character, just like
What, her getting in the way and stuff.
yeah, it's like oh my gosh, like it was so frustrating of a watch, and then it just like jumps in front, like it was so obviously like the wrong move, and I think I I didn't buy into it as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully bought into it because I mean that was, I think, part of the role of her character was to probably be a fairly inexperienced girl who has not really seen the reality of war.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Kirsten Dunst's character who was like taking it very seriously. But no, I respect your opinion.
And she also wanted that money shot as well.
She wanted the money shot so badly. She was so hungry.
Yeah.
You know.
That's just from my loose memory with that part there. But if I was to watch it, we'd have to see. I could easily switch. All right. Next one. Final two now. We got Juror 2, A Real Pain, Inside Out 2.
Buy Inside Out 2, rent Real Pain, and sell Juror 2.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I would probably buy Juror 2.
Whoa.
I love the moral dilemma in that. That was the situation where I kept thinking I could not decide what
Yeah,
I would
it's
do.
great, hey? It is great.
And like normally when I find myself to be a quite decisive person, but most movies they give you that moral dilemma. I can normally answer it pretty quickly, like what I would do, and I'd lock in on that answer. I couldn't decide. Even now, I'm like, what do you do?
Yeah,
Like,
what is the right choice?
yeah, because it just gave so much to like, he's starting a family. It's like, fuck, like,
do I just ruin this guy's life? Like, even though he wasn't really responsible.
and he was bad, and he like hit her. Oh man, it's tough. So I really love that experience of not being not being able to choose that. So I would do that one. I would rent A Real Pain because I think it's so brilliantly written. And I would sell Inside Out 2. Once I watched it again, I loved it, but it didn't hit as much. Yeah, and I think the rewatchability is not as strong in it. Yeah. Yeah, that's when I would go. Surprised by you two. Are there any rationales?
Yeah, I think for me, I do think Inside Out is more rewatchable. I think Juror 2 is something I wouldn't rewatch because it's that the whole point is that single watch and that single dilemma.
True.
You like there's no more mystery anymore of what will happen.
That's true.
And then with A Real Pain, it's not the kind of movie I'm going to rewatch, but I respect it a lot. So it's sitting somewhere in the middle there. That's my justification.
I would rewatch Inside Out because it's obviously the easier rewatch.
Animation.
And then I enjoyed A Real Pain more than I did Juror 2.
I think Juror 2 probably could have come across my top 3 of the year, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, we could have had a complete surprising top 10.
We could have. We could have.
It's that kind of year where you don't really know like who would be the top.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the final buy rent sell, Argyle, Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, Craven the Hunter.
God.
I would buy Craven the Hunter.
Oh,
I can't believe I'm saying that. At least there is some fight sequences in it that are passable. I would rent Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim, and I would sell Argyle. I cannot stomach Argyle. It's been a long time since I got angry watching
how? Like,
it made me angry.
okay, I didn't know you had that response.
Yeah, I hated that movie so much.
Why such the visceral reaction to it?
It felt like it was like it had aged out of every like movie making narrative choice right away. Like it felt like a movie made like 10, 15 years ago that like thought it was like 10 or 15 years ago was like smart then for what it was, but now it's so dated.
But she wrote, what did she write? The future or something? The character?
She was like secretly was a spy the whole time, and like she just lost her memory, and oh God, it was just I just hated every decision they were making in it. I really didn't like it.
Like the scene where they're like ice skating, but on like oil.
Oh,
That was so bad.
That might have been my fuse point. Like, where
Man, I wish I watched
exploded.
it with you now. Like that would have been so funny. All right, Nan, what do you got?
I might piss Kine off and buy Argyle.
No.
Because we need a lads meme movie, and
Yeah.
that's the perfect one. So I'm going to pick that because I can't stomach watching War of Raheem or Craven the Hunter again. I would rent Lord of the Rings just purely because of the experience I had with it. Half of it.
You're not getting that on the rewatch.
I know.
You don't get
I know,
that
but-
Respect thing, all right.
But they'll, respect thing, and there's some,
At least it's pretty
Yeah.
animation.
and I would definitely sell Craven the Hunter because the whole scene was
No, see, that's
just,
the best part.
but like that whole film was just purely atrocious, and like
Very
sure some of the
boring.
gore and
Yeah.
fight scenes were cool, but I was just like, ugh, disgusting.
It was not a good movie. No.
So boring.
No.
Yeah. I'm also gonna buy Argyle.
No, you can't do this.
Yes.
You can't do this.
At least it tried. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it doesn't work, agreed, but it tries to do something different or interesting. It just failed the landing.
That's the worst part about it to me is that it thinks it's trying to be unique, and that's the most egregious part of it. Like it thinks
That's
it's different,
literally what just
and
happened
it's
in The Last of Us.
oh,
It tried to do something smart.
wait till you finish it, mate. How's about that?
Well, I finished Argyle and I'm buying that. But I am gonna rent Craven the Hunter
Oh.
because I don't respect Lord of the Rings Warrior Harem.
Oh,
I would sell that one. I thought
never
it was,
going back to Hobbiton.
Yeah, I'm never getting the invite again. Hey? No, it was such a boring movie, and it never really gave me a reason to care. And I just kind of had to sit there and endure it and just look forward to what was coming next.
Yeah.
Maybe the event actually kind of ruined it because I just wanted to get out of the cinema and run straight to Hobbiton and not continue watching.
True.
But yeah, at least Craven the Hunter, it has some action sequences that I can stomach.
Yeah.
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 But what about the panting horse?
Goated. Goated. I got a photo of the Andy Serkis, and that was the highlight of my night. I don't think many movies could have beaten it, so maybe it's a little bit unfair to it.
Cool.
Actually, come to think of it, I had a really bad experience throughout that whole day.
Yeah,
Bad
with your
movie,
hay fever.
dying from hay fever.
Yeah, yeah. You got some highlights though.
It's all in your head, man. Just got to get through it.
According to James, hay fever is a mental thing. It's not a actual
It's
condition.
not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
It is. Once he bought into that, closed his eyes, took a deep breath in, and he was fine.
You just breathed all the hay fever out and it was gone.
Yeah, I did.
That's all you got to do, just blow your nose.
All right, that will do us on episode 96 of the Let's Be Real podcast. Hope you enjoyed this three-way hosting gig, and we'll get used to that because that's what's going to happen in the last
That's the gig.
last 4 episodes. But yeah, don't bother about liking us, following us, or anything anymore. But just do listen to us on Spotify because we're a hoot and a half. Other than that, we're Movie Gains, and we'll catch you later.
Final four. Peace.
Later.